Okay, it says I'm live. Let's see if it's true. Sorry, folks. You know nothing ever fucks up around here, right? Yeah. Great, good. That is perfect. Goodingville. No, I am not familiar with him. So, of course, I wouldn't recognize that instantly. Like 1 second before I'm doing the last setups, as I'm getting ready to do the last setup, my computer crashed. So I've spent like 10 minutes trying to fix that. So work with me a little bit while I get this fixed. I absolutely must get a new computer. This is not working out. This poor thing is not designed for this level of abuse. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm supposed to be talking about Second Amendment issues, and I will, absolutely. But I got to hit on a social issue. Elon Musk has bought out Twitter. Now, there's still a long road to go. Don't expect Donnie or any of the others back anytime soon. But this is awesome news because Elon is not particularly down for Twitter's agenda. Um, what he has really done is take over the Satanic Church's main mouthpiece, their one of their main chapels, and he's getting ready to burn it to the ground so that he can build a new one, a proper one. You know what? I couldn't be any more happy if I tried. Those of you that have been following me for a while probably know that that's not a good sign. When Carrie's happy, other people are sad. Well, this is no exception. I know just how dangerous Elon has to be to their agenda because people are quitting because he's taking over. Employees are quitting. Blue check, confirmed, whatever the fuck they are called, verified users are quitting left and right. This is like last I heard, it was 100,000 people had already quit. Blue checks had quit because Elon's taking over. Oh, well, that has to be a sign of something. It's gotten so bad, in fact, that they had to lock the source code for the site with some sort of password that, in order to make any changes, even basic functionality changes, you have to get a vice president to approve the change. All right, so imagine for a moment that he was taking over Shell oil company. Just imagine that for a second. This would be this equivalent of Shell employees threatening to burn stations to the ground because they don't like the new president of the company. Oh wow. Holy shit. This lockdown is the equivalent of locking every single King store and saying that a regional manager has to come down to unlock the store because he wants to, the new company president wants to know exactly who was in the building when they went to work. That's got to be cumbersome and complicated as flying fuck, and that's okay. If that's what it takes to prevent people from destroying the company, no, you're not, Vil. Like 30 seconds. Don't worry about it. If that's what it takes to prevent people from destroying the company, first of all, wow, oh, wow. And second of all, okay, then. It is what it is. And that's disgusting and unfortunate and true. Okay. All right. Elon, I raise a glass to you. Give them hell. Now, it's like I said, it's going to take, it's going to take a year at least for the process of him actually stepping into that chair and putting people he knows he can trust into the other chairs and actually do the takeover to the point where he knows he can trust even those rank and file employees. But until then, kind of is what it is. Okay. There's something funny going on with my chat here, so give me a second, guys. Vil has commented 3 times, but it's not showing up on the stream. Okay, there we go. Because, nothing ever fucks up around here. That's why I don't have to start late or early. No, I don't welcome any overlord because Elon's going to bring his own shit to this equation, and I'm not happy about that either. But as petty dictators go, he'll be a whole lot. He'll be infinitely an improvement over the previous ones. Of course, it's a joke. I understand. All right. I don't have a sense of humor. I do know a joke when I see one. Moving right along. Now, here's where it all's going to get a little bit spicy because people are going to assume, and this will tie into the next subject, that this is racist. It's not. Iran is run by a satanic church. I've said that so many times. Oh, God. You know what? This is one of those times you should feel bad for Apple. She has to deal with me every fucking time I'm live. She has to sit at her computer over at Benno Park. Benito? No. Anyway, YouTube headquarters and watch this shit. You should feel kind of a little bit bad for her right now. But anyway, just give me a second. I gotta move this around. There we go. That's better. You should kind of feel a little bit bad for her right now. Iran is run by a satanic cult. This is not racist, right? If I were racist, I'd be referring to the Persians, or at least the Iranian people. I don't care about them one way or the other. They're not anything special to me, but they're not Untermensch. Oh, Bernie, hi. You just missed my rant about Elon taking over Twitter, and I'm so excited. He's going to burn a satanic church to the ground and then build a new one. Oh, I'll build a new church. Hopefully it won't be satanic. Maybe it'll be a marketplace instead. Let's come back to that later. part of that agenda was to control the information. All right. The philosophy that the Iranian dictators developed under was literally inherited straight from Germany, Nazi Germany. And Nazi Germany understood control the message, control the words. I'll come back to that in a second, Bill. Either way, Nazi Germany understood that you had to control the message to the absolute max. They inherited it from Ayatollah Khomeini, inherited it from the fuck was his name? Otto Skorzeny. No, actually, he inherited it from Al Husseini. Rahim, I believe was his first name. Who got it directly from Otto. I want to make sure that the chat is going to scroll properly for posterity reasons. So Khomeini understood you have to absolutely control the message. You also have to control the message abroad. You can't just have the domestic message. And that's part of the plan that they've been working for the last 50 fucking years. Giving money to the investment group that helped create the original Twitter and YouTube and Facebook was part of controlling that message. And now all of their hard work and all of their investment has gone to... It's gone. Oh, they'll get the money back, sure, eventually. But they've lost control of the printing press itself. This would be the equivalent of if Hitler's people bought a newspaper in 1936, I believe it was. This would be the equivalent of them buying the newspaper and expecting the newspaper to sell their message. And then in 1941, 1942, somewhere along that line, somebody stepped in and bought their newspaper out. They still have huge investment in the company. They'll get their money back, but that's it. And worse still is, it would have been the anti-Nazis taking over that paper. That's going to hurt. That is really going to hurt their control. There's still the battle for Facebook and YouTube. And it's already starting to be said. Maybe he's going to aim for Google, which is... it's been said he's going to aim for Google next. Google owns YouTube, but Alphabet owns Google. So he'd have to aim for Alphabet. Good luck with that. Yeah, hold on to that thought too, Bill. I'll come to that in a minute. Good. He's burned one satanic chapel to the ground. And maybe he's aiming for more. Maybe he's even aiming for an entire diocese. Okay. All right. and I want to make sure I read this correctly. Violence is life said. As far as I know, Iran is just Islam. And I think maybe she meant to say Muslim, but it doesn't matter either way. Any computer expert, and even some lesser computer experts, not expert actually in my case, can tell you any system can be corrupted. Any system can be corrupted. There was an antivirus program out there for a couple of years. It's probably still floating around somewhere. Oh, a McAfee antivirus. This was late 90s when McAfee was antivirus protection. It was a virus. These guys had gotten their hands onto McAfee antivirus and corrupted it into a virus. Oh, wow. I'm sure Jack was pissed when he found out about that. I have absolutely no question or doubt that when he found out about that, he must have been furious and was slamming fingers onto his keyboard faster than you could say slamming fingers to try to figure out how to defeat this new virus using his own program. All right. Bill would later say, the woke cult is evil. You know, I refer to the rulers of Iran as a satanic cult, and I'm not taking it back. I referred to Twitter as being one of their printing press. I'm not taking that back either. Apple, I'm talking to you. Woke cult is kind of their choir, if you will. You know, the chaplain stands there and he tells you how you should act in this world, and this is what a good person in the world does. And the choir's back there, usually, at this point, just humming along, or occasionally saying hallelujah. And that's what the woke cult is doing. And a critical core of the woke cult, and I want to make sure I give the correct, Bill again. The core of the woke cult is Hollyweird. Know a little bit more about that subject than most people ever should, unfortunately. If you knew how bad the situation really was, don't think Rustlers. Actually, think more along the lines of Blazing Saddles. Yeah, it would look a little like that. And Bill said, "Swacked. Rest in peace, John McAfee." I mean, I'm not big about conspiracy theories. I can say that the way Jack died was very, very interesting. It will never be fully resolved. And I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. Either way, the Satanic Church and the choir in particular is in full-on panic mode. The really bad ones, the core, they're fucking running for their lives. They know this place is burning to the ground and they don't want to be around when it finishes. Now, there's some of that chapel who are still going to be standing there when it's all said and done, untouched. It's in Ezekiel somewhere. A parody of it is in the film. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's a Tarantino movie. Anyway, an evil man will flee when no danger presents, but a righteous man is steadfast before danger. The members of the Twitter, in particular, choir, who are still standing there like nothing's going on in a year and a half, are the ones you should be watching. They're the ones who are probably the righteous. You watch over the next year or so. A lot of the people who were thrown out on their heads are suddenly going to be invited back. And I'm going to say this right straight up. Donald Trump is going to be the first one to be let back in the door. They're going to reach out to him and beg him to come back. You watch. Okay. They are worried because they know that every lie that they've been telling for the last 10 years is slowly going to start coming out. I was watching something by Tim Pool just last night about this subject. That what Elon really bought wasn't a company, wasn't servers. Yes, Bernie, except the quote in question changed the passage in some important ways to turn it into something pretty disgusting, actually. Thank you. Pulp Fiction. Right, Pulp Fiction. It was parodied in Pulp Fiction. What Elon bought was the evidence. Everything that they've been doing for the last 10 years has been carefully recorded. This week was originally going to be about the importance of history. Okay. Careful notations of every change that has ever been made to the Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Google algorithms has been, it's all been very carefully noted, because they don't want to go back 10 years from now and say, why did we change the algorithm this spot, unchange it, and then find out 6 months later, holy shit, we changed that for a reason. If you look a little too carefully at my at the actual picture of me, you're going to notice that I told YouTube to go fuck themselves again today. Nursing a little bit of a hangover, maybe. And in 6 months, or 6 weeks, they're going to have a new little bit of the algorithm that'll see that and say, nope, you can't be here anymore. You're gone. We don't care what you call yourself. You can't use that word. And if you think I'm joking, I got banned from Hunter Avalon's Discord for exactly that, because I knew before I even walked in the door that they were going to go after me. I'll be really honest. I wanted to get kicked out of there so I could say, see, they'll kick you out for no reason. Yeah, and by the way, that was not a legitimate reason. Damn it, I got to get a bigger coffee cup. Okay. So I'm at almost 30 minutes. Um, every little bit of that algorithm has been careful. Every change has been carefully noted as to why. We changed the algorithm to ban this word. We changed the algorithm to suppress this content, on, whatever. That's what he really bought. And that's what he's threatening to expose. The pure fact of him standing there in that space is a threat that he'll expose everything they've been doing for at least the last 10 years. Believe me when I say they do not want people knowing what they've been doing for the last 10 years. Hell, I'm not even sure I want to know. It's a documented fact. It is a criminal court, or is it civil? It might have been civil court fact that they tolerated a child porn video floating around for years, and they banned the mother of the kid in that video for complaining about it being there. That's just what they got caught doing. Imagine what is going to come out that they didn't get caught doing. And to the best of my knowledge, the video is still there. I have every confidence that 90% of it is somebody saw it, downloaded it for themselves, waited till whoever they saw posted it, or uploaded it rather, got banned, and then re-uploaded it. And they're going to be chasing this tail around forever. But they need to be chasing this tail around forever because they tolerated it to begin with. They did nothing about it for at least a year. And now the dog is actually loose. It's their own fault. Okay. Where was I going with this? Now Elon is going, sooner or later, Elon's going to bring that information out too. And I honestly kind of think that might have been his whole agenda to begin with. All right. I'm looking at the chat right now, and I see Bernie, I see Bill. Luke should be at work, so that explains him. Squatch had something this morning, and he even dared to apologize to me about not being here today, but where the hell is everybody else? I know I invited you. Yeah, I'll come back to that in a second, Bill. Moving right along, guys. Come on. If you don't comment, I don't know you're out there, and believe me, that's very creepy. All right. Love you, Susan. All right. You know what? I'll hit it right now. Bill says Biden administration has created a ministry of truth. No, not quite. But they sure as hell have created a team of lawyers to start fighting for the ministry of truth. And if he's not checked in a year's time, I'll be gone. I'll be gone, very gone. I'm okay with that. I've known this since before I started the channel. It's somebody else being gone is the reason why I started this at all. may have done it the wrong way, but I started this because they nuked Bloke on the Range's channel for advertising gun parts that he didn't advertise. Fuck you. You lie, your feet stink, and Jesus hates your ass. Okay. He didn't advertise gun parts. I know, I saw one of the two videos. There's no way he was advertising anything. Matter of fact, I was kind of pissed because I could take one look at this and say, oh my God, those won't exist anymore. Fuck you. Why are you telling me about this? Sorry, Mike, it's the truth. I was mad that you were telling me about something that cannot possibly exist anymore. It is what it is. And then they nuked him for that. And they're going to be going after all of us because we're not saying the right things. Vil, since you're in the chat, I got to pick on you a little bit. Her only video that I've seen is her knitting and dealing with her baby in the background. And it's really just pretty bland and tame. And, you know, what could you possibly object to here? All right. I've seen more exciting cooking videos. Y'all think I'm joking? No. Guns and Barbecue. His only video that I've ever seen was about zesty chicken. I know I forwarded the video to Papa Carey, who tried it 2 weeks later when I came back to town because I gave it to him. All right. That video was actually more exciting than Vil's knitting video because it was literally just that, knitting and dealing with the baby. Oh, and reading. She was reading a book. All right. Half the comments in the chat will get her nuked, and they will nuke you for those comments. And what she said here is nothing compared to me calling Iran a satanic cult. Not even in the same game, let alone league. All right. Her comments compared to me is she's playing junior high school roller hockey, and I'm playing not Bush League, but the not pro, but the next step down, rugby. Oh, and by the way, I do hit people in the face. Fuck you. All right. Now the pro rugby players, the Laurens, the Daisies, the Exiles, they're way the fuck up here. I'm still like here. They're gonna go first, and we're all going to be shipped off to the gulag of maybe locals or Rumble, but more likely we're going to end up finding ourselves on BitChute or Full 30 because that's the only place we can find. No, not Full 30. Full 30 already tried to come after me about one of my videos. And it's gonna get there sooner or later. All right. Bernie asked Sasquatch about a conversation on a channel we both were watching on the subject of what freedom of speech means and doesn't mean. Bernie, seeing as how you're invoking Squatch with me, and knowing what Squatch knows about me, and he's seen me backstage, I may not want to ask that question of him. All right. My language can be a whole lot saltier than you'll ever imagine. You're on Rumble? I did not know that. Yeah, it's working. All right. Love you, Susan. Oh, wow. Bernie, if considering who you're watching now and the kind of language and things I'm capable of saying and doing, and you're shocked by whatever that was, maybe I do want to ask. Holy shit. Oh, all right. We're at minute 35. So I'm going to move on to something else that was brought up. I was specifically, and by name, by real name, worse still, uh, singled out as a racist, homophobe, misogynist. Okay, folks, no, no. We are all equally fucking worthless. There is absolutely nobody better than anybody here or anywhere else, right? Now, I can't say I'm anti-racist. That's even not a thing. But your skin, whether you got tits or not, oh, what you wear, and that's a comment directed at one person in the entire universe, and he knows who he is. Who or what you're banging, as long as it's human. What else? Homophobic. Yeah, well, anyway, all of this is totally fucking irrelevant to me. I don't give a shit. And as to that last category, unless you're putting it up on Pornhub and I have any reason to care, I don't care. Guess what? Dave Rubin is not. Dave Rubin, I don't care. All right? There you go. Dave, with the grace of God, go and don't start sinning just because some jackoff that you've never even heard of said, yeah, you're not sinning, go away. Right? And that's what this was really about. Dave Rubin and his husband apparently adopted a child. And okay, so what? That was actually my response. Okay, so what? And I was labeled a homophobe for that. I've been labeled a racist in the past because I am white. That's it. That's the only reason I was labeled racist. This individual was not aware that, according to, I think it was 23andMe, I'm not white. I'm not, well, I'm like 45%, but I'm not even half white. What the fuck? What do you mean I'm 45% white? And then that tiny little piece of Korean. Whoa, what? What do you mean Korean? Chinese, maybe. Korean? Where the fuck did that come from? But anyway. Dave, go. Don't start sinning now just because I said you're fine. Gentlemen of interesting attire, go and don't start sinning now just because I said you're fine. Now, I know beyond question or doubt that if Dave ever saw this, he'd be like, I didn't need your permission to begin with. Yeah, you didn't. The gentleman of interesting attire. He is going to see this eventually because I'm going to bring it to his attention. And he's going to private message me with this exact words, probably in quotation marks. I didn't need your permission to begin with. And yeah, you're right, you didn't. I don't give a fuck. Let me rephrase that. I don't care about any of those things. All right. Yes, I've referred to Iran as a satanic cult. I'm not talking about Persians. I'm talking about Iran as a body, is a governing construct, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Any system can be corrupted. That doesn't mean every people are corrupted by the fact that they exist. And I'm really getting sick and tired of hearing it every 6 months. You're racist. No, fuck you. Right? Take that shit and shove it so far up your ass that you compress your eyeballs into the top of your skull. Sideways. With a brick. You want to talk about racist and sexist and homophobic and all that other crap, go find it. I don't want to say his name. I don't want to give him attention that he actually deserves, but for the wrong reasons. There is a gentleman you could go talk to. And he was banned on Twitter for a real reason. He actually did something to be banned. I don't know if he got worse since then or he was just that bad back then. Go bother him. Stop lying to me about me. Right. Are we good here? Do I have to go on a little bit more? Because I'll be very honest, guys. I don't like hearing about it from me either. I hope not. I hope we're good, rather. Because I'd really rather get on to my real subject. Oh, like I said, guys, my computer crashed like 2 seconds before. 2 seconds before I'm supposed to pop out the chat, actually. Right, so I gotta stop sharing this screen. I don't trust any of them at this point because there's too many issues have come up that I cannot answer. All right, stop screen. Share a screen, a window, that window. Make sure it's sharing correctly. Oh, it looks good. Ah, yes, excellent. All right, I'm not going to see the chat for a few seconds, guys, so just accept it. All right, this week is conditional exemptions. Following categories of persons may at their own discretion be exempt of carry during such times as such conditions exist. All right. So, at your own discretion, if you believe that you qualify under one of these, you have to be the authority on whether this condition exists or not. Because I can't sit here and predict everything that could ever happen. Now, there will any exemption that exists, somebody will try to abuse it, go into the court, explain to the judge, and maybe the judge will just say, no, you're guilty of two things, one of them being failure to carry as required, and the other being perjury. We'll see what judges say when rubber starts to actually hit the road. Right. Intoxicated person. Any person under or intending to be under the influence of an intoxicating substance as established by their state's drunk driving statutes. Too drunk to drive, too drunk to carry. With the grace of God, go. Don't start sitting now. And the reason why intending to be was included is, and this has happened before, you left your gun in the car. Okay. You went inside and you've been drinking and having a great time, and something happens. You got into a fight, you went back out to the car, you got your gun, and you shot 5 people. Oh, okay. That's not good. That guy was a cop, by the way. I get it. I understand. Leave your gun at home if you're going to be drinking. A active cop who on the side does gun range training, gun safety training, excuse me. He actually told us when he and his wife are going to go out and he plans on drinking, he leaves his guns at home because he does not want any reason to question his judgment. He can't shoot somebody if he doesn't have his gun. Okay. I think he by himself had more to do with how that was written than anybody else on earth, including Papa Carey. Any person within 100 feet of their home, vehicle, place of employment, or residence, they have a right to be in as a guest. Right? You work as a data processor at ADT. You walked in the door, you put your gun in the top right drawer. That's an old myth about cops, by the way. And you started doing your data processing work, but you can't have your gun on you when you're in the chair all day because it's just not comfortable, or it just doesn't work, or it gets in your way, or as is my case, when I was working security, my goddamn elbow kept bumping my holster. All right. Let me make sure this part is working properly. Right. It would bump right here. I'd be walking along and my damn elbow would keep bumping my holster because I had a shit holster that I was required to carry until I decided I was tired of hearing people whining. And I changed my holsters. But anyway, yeah, if you're at work or you're at home, this is also related to the cookies and beer exemption. And really, that's kind of the name, the cookies and beer. You're at home, you're stone cold sober, you have no other exemptions on earth. You decide you want to go across the street to the Chevron, get a pack of cookies and a six pack of beer and some cookies. Come home and have a little bit of a personal party, and you got a gun up to go do that? No. That's ridiculous. All right. Yes, something could happen in those 15 minutes. There comes a point where we say, no, this is too much regulation. For the love of God, go. Okay, exempt locations as provided below. Person on exempt locations other than employees are exempt from carrying during their time there. No location may enact a gun-free zone declaration of its own. All other gun-free zone laws and ordinances are hereby repealed. Employees of exempt locations are not eligible for any exemption under this act. Right. The exempt locations is listed below. Right. If you work in one of those places, you have to carry while you're at work, unless it fits one of the other exemptions. And You don't get any mandatory exemptions. You don't get any elective exemptions. It has to be a conditional exemption related to your work and employment. And it's actually the very next one, so we'll get to that in a minute. The Westfield Shopping Town shooting back in 2015, I believe it was a gun-free zone. The shooter went in through the signs that say gun-free zone, and he did shoot 3 people. I think he only killed one of them. Even by my standard, that achieves a mass shooting, because there's no other reason. There's no clear and understandable reason why he chose this place or those people. He just wanted a high score, and he intended to get it. He thought he was going to, till Nick Melty either went through a door that didn't have the gun-free zone sign, or just flat out fucking ignored it. I don't know which it was. I've heard that there's a couple doors in the building that aren't covered. Okay. Nick drew his Glock 22 out and met the shooter in a situation that makes me absolutely believe that, yes, the shooter saw there was somebody else with a gun, ran off into the ladder well, and ended all of his problems permanently. All right. That sign would have been specifically illegal. You can put them up, you can leave them up. You can't enforce them. They're not legal. And if you really, really want to be a dick about it, after Dadislav passes, you could try suing them for having those signs up. They're just going to take it down. And the judge will probably tell you to go away and stop bothering me. Did I miss anything else? Okay. Persons in specific working conditions wherein compliance with the law presents such an unacceptable risk to their own safety or that of those around them of unintentional injury are exempt while the specific circumstance exists. This section refers to working conditions only. All right, so my usual example is utility line workers. You get zapped by one of those utility lines, and you might not survive anyway. But if you're carrying a gun, the chances of a accidental discharge are almost 100%. And by the way, it's going to be all of the rounds going off at the same time. The gun isn't going to have a chance to cycle because the second, third, and fourth shot, bare minimum, are going off as the first one does. That's an unacceptable risk. I get it. For the grace of God, go, and don't start sending now. And there are many other examples. Would a runway worker at an airport qualify? Maybe. I'm saying that. Maybe. They might be exempt. Okay. Would a sewage system worker be exempt? With all that sewage gas around them, that explosive sewage gas around them. Yeah, with the grace of God, go and don't start sitting now. You're fine. Just go ahead and go. All right, but it's related to safe working conditions only. All right, a slightly controversial one here. Maintenance. Any person who has surrendered a weapon to an FFL holder for maintenance and or gunsmithing may show the receipt for the weapon to any peace officer
peace or court officer, no citation may be written if presented at time of discovery. Any citation shall be dismissed for cause if presented in court without additional fine or fee. Any professional other than an FFL holder or employee of an authorized gunsmith who attempts to determine the cause for the weapon surrender shall be fined not less than $1,000. Any private party who attempts to determine the reason for a weapon's surrender under this section shall be fined not more than $500. Any person working at the behest of a third party shall be considered a professional for the purposes of this section.
Okay, this is the hold my guns exemption. Hold my guns helps to facilitate FFL holders to hold guns for people who are not in a good situation, right? They may not necessarily be suicidal. There may be something else going on in their head, but they know they got to get the guns out of the house. And I've been there. I've done that. I don't think Papa Kerry has ever fully recovered from the day I turned to him and said, Dad, I think the guns need to go up to Reading. That was 2003. I had the resources to turn to somebody. I had mom and dad to turn to. A lot of people do not have someone or something to turn to. For the purposes of Dadislav, I would actually include police and fire departments as FFL holders, right? You're in distress. You need to get the guns out of the house. I get it. And you can go back in 6 months or 2 weeks or whenever it is and get them back. I get it. The grace of God, go. You might also only own one gun because that's all that is actually required, or that's all you can get, or you might even have one of those public assistance guns that I occasionally talk about, which basically, you're given this gun every 5 years or whatever it is, as part of your public assistance, welfare or general assistance or whatever it is. That might be all you have. And something's wrong with the gun. You know something's wrong with the gun. You take it into a gunsmith and say, hey, my sights are off, or it's not cycling properly, or I went to the range yesterday and I tried shooting and I went through like 5 clips or 5 rounds or whatever, and it didn't go bang a single time. And I don't know what the hell's wrong with this thing. Okay, you're going to get a receipt for the gun itself. They're going to check it out. They're going to figure out what the hell's wrong with this. They call you up and say, it's working again. Come on down, pick it up. And you hand over that receipt. Between the time you dropped it off and the time you picked it up, if a cop stops you and says, where's your gun? And you say it's at Joe's gunsmith shop. Okay. Can I see the receipt? Show him the receipt. You have it with you and you show it to him. He can't cite you. If you left your receipt at home, you're going to pay a $10 fine for leaving your receipt at home. And that's it. All right. This is on you, but leaving your receipt at home really is on you, but it's not that big a deal. You made a mistake. That's all. I know of parking tickets with bigger fines. Matter of fact, right now, I don't think there is a parking ticket with a smaller fine. No, actually there aren't. Believe me, that $10 fine for leaving your receipt at home, a whole lot less than just saying, fuck the law, I'm not doing it. All right, because I did bring it up. Here we go. Exemplifications. Airports
K-12 schools, and government buildings. All right. It is listed later, and I will be going over it at that point. Those are the exempt locations. There's a couple of caveats to what can and cannot be considered for exempt, and just it is what it is. All right. That is done. Share screen. Get back up there. Okay. All right. Those are the conditional exemptions, and they only exist while the condition itself exists. All right. Last night, I was I had like 4 beers for somebody who does maybe a full beer a month. You could say I might have been a little bit tipsy last night, which is very weird because I wasn't much feeling it. But okay. I would have been exempt last night. I'm hungover, just maybe a touch today. Okay, all right. Am I so hungover that I can't carry? Well, I will be as soon as I leave the house anyway. So there you go. It's my discretion. I want to emphasize, though, especially with regards to intoxication, discretion is always the better part of valor. Okay, Bill says, racist is just a derogatory term that commies throw at people. No, it's not even that. And it is a specific logical fallacy. It's something that people say to poison the well. They won't listen to anything you have to say because, well, who wants to listen to a racist? Okay. Doesn't matter what they're saying. They were labeled a racist, so nobody will listen to them anymore for anything. No, fuck you. Right? I literally know people that follow this channel, unfortunately, who are racist. And how do I put this politely? I don't. Fuck those guys. All right. Bernie, I'm not that worried about it. I don't care. They're going to get it sooner or later anyway. His question is, do you trust some random company to know your DNA? Yeah, I don't care. And by the way, the Department of Defense has my DNA profile on record. So what am I supposed to do? I mean, it already was what it was. I remember as I'm going through boot camp, they're doing the DNA segment. You put a piece of paper on your tongue. And I guess, well, I licked mine. I don't know what anybody else does. And they somehow attach that permanently to your paper file. I'm standing in that line to do it. And I thought, ooh, sorry, guys. What the hell was that? I'm standing in that line. I do that step and I hand it over. And I remember thinking, well, there goes my brilliant career as a serial rapist. I'm not a serial rapist. I would never be a serial rapist. I would never be a rapist. To begin with, it was a joke. But yeah, I had already destroyed my life for DNA evidence.
for the purposes of DNA evidence. And I thought it was kind of funny, to be honest with you. So I'm not worried about that anyway. All right. Geez, I'm going to be wrapping up way early today. If anybody has a question, especially about those conditional exemptions, I'm happy to hear them. Otherwise, I'm going to push on into get home bag territory. All right, always, water's top of the list. I've said it a million times. I'll say it a million more. If a crisis comes along and you steal a couple bottles of water, understand that there's going to be a reckoning later, because the store has cameras. They will eventually figure out who you are. But if you have to steal water to get home alive, okay, all right. I don't like it, and I totally get it. Try to avoid that. Try to make that a last possible option. But after that, you got to do what you got to do to survive. I was going to do one thing, but I'm going to do something else. And particularly ladies. All right. Ladies, you can't run around with totally topless. I don't care how serious the crisis is, without there being problems. It's just bare minimum physics. Okay, you're going to have some problems. On the other hand, you don't have to wear a wool parka in the middle of summer just because you want to be appropriate in public. Pack a bikini top in your bag. Pack it, and there are bikini tops that will fit into purses. All right. If it is hot out and you have to get home, and that getting home is your entire objective, find some dark, hidden corner somewhere. Keep your t-shirt. Ditch your bra. Put the bikini top on. Put your t-shirt back on, right? And if it gets to the point where that t-shirt is also too hot, at least you can take that off. Now you're wearing a bikini top, and people assume that you're running home from a pool or a lake or a river or something when all hell broke loose. And they might just ignore you a little bit. Hey, don't fuck with her. She's caught up in this chaos too. Go fuck with the cops or something like that. Go fuck with the weirdo with the red shirt that says share around with ISIS on. He's obviously here for the big game. You'll be more likely to be ignored that way than you would some other ways. All right. When I was still in college, this back in the 1990s, all right, Shasta College was, it was like an hour and a half drive from home. And there were classmates of mine that lived even further out than we did, right? Trying to get from school to home on foot for them could have been a 2-day trip. In the middle of a Shasta County summer, I mean, that's brutal. All right. I really remember noticing how much cooler Sacramento was than Redding, despite being a big city. It was that much cooler here than it was back home. That actually caught me off guard. It also rains harder in Sacramento than it does in Redding, but anyway. Um so now they're trying to make a 2-day trip with maybe a couple of bottles of water. Um they're going to overheat at some point. Okay. Just find a cool or cooler shaded area off to the side and try to cool off there as best you can. And hopefully everybody will just assume, in the case of uh, somebody from, say, Placerville, no, not quite that far. Oh no, or Hugo, excuse me. Um, you were in Reading when the crisis hit, and now you're walking home. Okay, we get it. Go. Oh, I know you. Your mom is. Or, yeah, you live like 3 miles up the road here. Let me give you a ride. You might even get lucky that way. And just, and ladies in particular, try to avoid everybody if you can. And if you can't, try to stick with other women. I know women, you all hate each other. But this is a crisis. Get past that for a minute and focus on getting home. I mean, I'm kind of sorry, but I'm not entirely sorry. Focus on that. The more you can do to try to reduce how hot you are, your core body temperature, the longer you're going to make it. And by wearing a bikini top, people might just leave you alone thinking, oh, you got caught in the middle of all this. I'm sorry, lady, go away. You weren't part of this. You were never part of this. And we're going to leave you alone. And it's kind of like that. All right. Yep. That's about it for that. And I'm only at 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I'm going to try and find, excuse me, a couple of things that I wanted to show people. Like I said, my computer crashed like 5 seconds before I'm set. Well, as I'm setting up. It was right around here. Oh, no, it wasn't that. It's important, but no, it wasn't not that. Yeah, it's actually related to that, but no. Damn. Now I'm going to come back to that one, actually. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to do this right now. Stop that screen. Share a screen, a window. All right. So this is
absolutely stupid. I'm not exactly sure when this was created. Difference is assault weapons can go from single to short burst to fully, and common is single to semi. Plus, case in point, Remington 760 Game Master, chambered in 30-06 to kill Martin Luther King Jr. That's a firearm that can kill from a distance and shouldn't be public. All right. Corey, you were doing fine. You should have just stopped with that first line. That is one of the two absolute differences between an actual assault weapon and literally everything else. I'm not exactly sure what he meant by, and common is single to semi, so maybe he can get away with that. Maybe he meant single shot versus semi-automatic, but that doesn't even fully make sense because there's still bolt action, pump action, lever action, a million other actions that are just not self-loading, right? There is an actual fucking bolt action belt-fed gun out there. So yeah, it would be a machine gun under Dadislav. It's kind of a strange one. And I think somebody just made it as kind of a joke. Oh, excuse me, lever action. I think he made it just as a joke. And okay, fine. The rest of this is absolute garbage. Just total, like, who cares? What difference does it make? All right. Corey, you're an idiot. You actually do not know what you're talking about. Oh, good. They are still up. How did I do that? All right. Kind of ties into the earlier subjects. Windows. I know what's going on now. Watch this shit. When I minimized these two windows earlier, they disappeared from what I could see. All right. What I was talking about with Twitter as the Church of Satan. You want to ask me where I got this from? Let me make sure it's showing. Yeah, that's very generous of you, Bernie. It's fucking retard. Or ties into what we're about to look at here. Remember I said that they lie, their feet stink, and Jesus hates their ass. All right. Just after the Taliban invaded Afghanistan, there was a video, actual fucking video, of a man mysteriously standing in midair about 20 feet underneath the helicopter. Well, we all assumed that he was being hung from the helicopter. According to Fascist Book, however, fact check, video footage of helicopter does not show suspended corpse. Maybe he was a corpse. I can go with that. Helicopter video shows Taliban attempting to hang a flag, not an execution. Video shows Taliban fighter attached to helicopter, not public hanging. Video does not show Taliban using helicopter to execute man. Lead stories lying. That's normal, right? That's all they do is lie.
Associated Press lying is very, very upsetting to me. USA Today lying was shocking at the time. A whole lot less now. I'm not sure who AFP is. Either way, even if the man was already dead when the helicopter took off, they showed him hanging from the helicopter, period. End of discussion. There's no two ways to interpret this. All right. They went that far out of their way to lie about the facts of the case.
And that's exactly what they do. Next one. Yeah, I'm not quite as mad about this one. Actually, I'm not mad here at all. All right. You can't see it here, but I did comment on this one.
There's been this contentious argument, an ongoing fight about what a assault weapon is, because I use a definition that apparently nobody else on earth has ever used. Well, okay. A submachine gun is obviously a pistol caliber carbine automatic rifle. All right. I can't even put that word salad together again, so just work with me here. This is from Forgotten Weapons. This is a screenshot from their video on the subject. And this quote is slightly out of context. I'm going to admit that right away. Almost adopted the H&K XM8 family. In this, he's talking about the XM8 and how it did almost replace the M16 in U.S. military service. I'm really startled when it didn't. And here he's talking at this particular point, which is
5 minutes, 16 seconds, how there were at least these 3 different barrel length and furniture configurations,
and how the short-barreled version was supposed to become a personal defense weapon. Or submachine gun version. Okay. Now, all this does is demonstrate that certain terms don't have a very clear and definitive line between them, right? What is a submachine gun? Well, at least in this respect, we can definitively say a certain type of thing. If it's got a stock and it's got a longer barrel, well, even if it doesn't have a longer barrel, if it's got a stock but it fires pistol caliber carbine or pistol caliber cartridges, okay. So it's intended to be used like a rifle, but it fires pistol rounds. Okay. And pistol rounds has a good general definition of small enough where you can wrap your hand completely around the magazine and mag well if applicable. Okay, great, good. We can get to a specific spot and say stop right there, except now we can't. No fault of my own. And it fires on automatic reverse fire. Okay, that would be a submachine gun.
This is an example of why definitions, that long, ridiculously long definitions section is so fucking important. Is this an assault rifle? Is it a submachine gun? Is it a PDW? Is it something else? And that's also why PDW should just not even be a thing. That's just my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. even though it's a highly unpopular one. Okay. I'm not sure if that comment about perception is related to definitions or what. But yeah, I mean, your perception is always, the company commanders at Cape May would tell us every fucking day until somewhere around week 6. My perception is never wrong, even if their interpretation of the perception was wrong. You didn't shave today. Yes, I did. I just shaved badly. It is what it is. I still shave badly. You can't tell, but I already have a 3 o'clock shadow. It is almost 0930, and I shaved at 0600 this morning. All right. Not just because this grows a little on the fast side, but because I've never managed to get a good shave on a consistent basis. Just one of my personal faults in like 45, almost 46 years old. I still haven't done it right. Okay, that's caught up. And actually, I think that was both of the ones I wanted to harp on. Yep. Okay. Yes, that was it. Good. All right. Your perception is never wrong. Your interpretation may be, and that's okay. I understand. Mistakes are always going to happen. Person A walks into a grocery store with a gun on his hip and walks around for 45 fucking minutes. The gun is clearly visible, and this is a store with a national gun-free zone policy, and nobody bats an eye. Or nobody appears to bat an eye. My perception is nobody even noticed, even though he did a couple of things to maybe point out that it's there, like hooked his arm on it at one point. And if you think I'm joking, that video is on YouTube. That's not me making shit up. I believe it was Trader Joe's that he went into. So go ahead, search it. It's there. I will try to remember to put a link in the pinned chat or pinned comments. My perception is that when a YouTube creator pins one of their own comments, that's pretty much an act of arrogance. Well, that's an act of arrogance. I'm so important. It's my channel, so I can do that. You didn't need to do that. You could have put it in the fucking description. That's my perception. And I can look y'all in the eye and say that their intention may have been something completely different. They may have pinned that comment onto the chat or onto the discussion so that as people reply to that comment, they will always absolutely see it, or at least they'll have a better chance of seeing it. Much more recently, I avoid those creator pinned comments like a plague until about 2 weeks ago, when there was something that was so important that I absolutely had to make sure that she saw this comment. My comment specifically fit, or my reply specifically fit that comment. So great, good, wonderful. It all worked out in the end. I'm well aware of this. All right. But it is still my perception that when you pin one of your own comments, you're just being an arrogant little shit. All right, we're at about an hour and a half. I'm not seeing any questions. Come on, man. Yeah, well, Bernie, I'm not above clickbait. You know what? You're right. Apple, I'm not sorry for what I'm about to do. Fuck. You totally have this one coming to you. Share. I know you're kidding, but I'm not. Stop screen. Share screen. Windows. I don't know if you can see the file name is clickbait boy toy 1. Oh, I should have gone with the other one. Oh well, fuck it. Guys, the image on the left got me in trouble for being a pair of tits. Right? Yes, it's a tube top. I get it. I understand. I'm totally there. All right. I had that one up as my original clickbait thumbnail. I got in trouble for that. I switched it to the one on the right, which is actually her coat is open and that's a lace bra. That is absolutely intended to suggest sexual interest. The one on the right doesn't get me in trouble. Guys, Apple, come on. Wake up. What the hell is wrong with you? The tube top is a problem, but the bra isn't. Do I look like I'm happy? Do I look like I'm smiling? Do I look like I'm about to call you a liar? I'm really thinking about it. I'm not even going to lie to you. You guys should. Sometimes you should feel bad for Apple. This isn't one of them. All right, moving right along. And by the way, the next time you tell me we're going to be professional from now on, I'm going to call you out on it. Don't think I won't. Oh, excuse me. All right. Unless I get a couple questions here very quickly, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. This week, or this month, has been completely backwards. It's supposed to be the first and third week when I do the afternoon stream, and I've been doing them on the second and fourth. There isn't going to be an afternoon stream this week. Next month, I will be back to my proper schedule, and hopefully next month I will have the big list up in time for the second, which is when I was supposed to do it. If you know of a gun channel, especially a small one, like I'll just say this, I'll let this cat out of the bag. Locked and Loaded is already on my list. I like them. I mean, I know the feeling isn't exactly completely. It's not a completely two-way street. The northbound traffic is one lane, and the southbound traffic is 2 lane, and I'm okay with that. They tolerate me, and that's about it. And for those of you who might think I'm being judgmental, I barely tolerate me. So who the hell am I to judge others who just tolerate me. It's the truth. I have to tolerate me. It's my own skin. Everybody else who tolerates me, I'm an asshole. What am I supposed to do? Get mad at you because I'm an asshole? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I've been fighting a head cold all week, really. Actually, I think it's allergies, but whatever. So yeah. Where was I going with all of it, with this little bit of a rant? This quasi rant. I would prefer smaller channels. Like L3 is not monetized. It is not eligible for monetization yet. That's a perfect candidate. Drew's channel's on the list. He's not eligible for monetization yet because YouTube fucking screwed him so hard that he can't even find a drill to try to get it out with. Come back to that in a second. So smaller channels, if it's one of the bigger channels, you might have to explain why I should care. And there's a couple of them that are definitely on the list. I've mentioned them around here before. Please tell me. I've got a small list already and I'd love to add to it. You're also helping me in the process because you might bring to my attention somebody I've never heard of. I don't, it's who? And they might just get a new subscriber. This is a great example, Guns and Barbecue. I'm not a subscriber to Guns and Barbecue. Papa Carey is, because I brought that one video about zesty chicken to his attention, and he started following the channel for the rest of it. And if I understand correctly, he's now following 2 more because they're also cooking channels. So that's awesome. Bernie, you don't need to ask him. Squatch's first live stream. I was his first guest. As soon as he brought me from backstage to front stage, I dropped every racist, sexist, homophobic, and elitist term I knew, spewed them out. Right? That was a good 2-3 minutes of me spewing bad words. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed one. Well, 2 technically. I have never used the word fish in that context. That's the sort of thing that gay men call women in general. Just to be rude and disrespectful, and yeah, it's ridiculous. Apparently taco is also one. Really? Fish and taco? Come on. Those are 2 terms I would never use. So it didn't occur. One of them I didn't even know was taco specifically. I didn't even know that was a thing until about 2 weeks ago. And the other one that I don't even know how I forgot about this one, cunt. I didn't drop a cunt. Didn't drop a C-bomb. I was just as hard on guys, so don't. Oh, and by the way, breeder can be a derogatory term for women, but it can also be a derogatory term for straight people. Oh, yeah, about that. And apparently, me calling myself a honky is okay, even though that's actually a death threat. Apple, The fuck is wrong with you? You let me get away with using that kind of language? What yeah, breeder can be a derogatory term for straight people and straight men in particular. Bull is strictly a derogatory term for straight men who maybe have a fetish or something else for getting women pregnant. There it is. That's the truth. Again, Apple, how do you let me get away with this kind of language? Just tell me. You can email me. You know where to find me. Just explain it to me. All right. So, yeah, you don't even need to ask him. Although, if you want to see that clipped segment, go ahead and ask him. And if there's anything I missed, by goddamn, you better tell me because I want to hear it. I am perfectly comfortable with foul language. You can't offend me that way anymore. You get called faggot 3 times in one Twitter posting, you get over it. Especially when that tweet is still there 5 years later and you're taking a screenshot of it to show the entire world that, yes, that's what I was called to my face. And Twitter's thought, yeah, it's perfectly fine because he's talking, or she, excuse me, is talking about mandatory carry. That's fine. We're okay with that. Oh, okay. But me pointing out somebody is an actual traitor who led to the murder of 200 people, most 99% at least were innocent. That's not okay. I got you, Twitter. I understand. No, I don't. I'm lying. All right. Now we're at 0940. I'm going to just rant a little bit for about a minute. And then if there's nothing else, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for this week. As to the subject of my language, I can use any word on earth. That doesn't mean I'm racist, right? It just means I'm a fucking asshole. I know that. I've known that for years. All right. And this is for one particular creator, and more importantly, one of her mods. I will never, ever, under any circumstances, change a quote to protect your feelings. He said what he said, and it is unethical and illegal, although that legality issues more of a civil matter than a criminal matter. Unethical, absolutely, no questions, no exceptions. To change a quote to protect somebody's feelings. It's one thing if you make a mistake. You know, if Samuel Clemens had said, history doesn't repeat, but it does recycle. Okay, well, that's not what he said. He said, it rhymes. It sounds so much alike so often. It's okay. Right? Recycle would have been a mistake. A difference between a mistake and a lie, or a plagiarism. You own the mistake. To change the quote is plagiarism. More importantly, you're telling your readers, your viewers, your followers, your fans, your whatever,
that so and so said something. They didn't say. They didn't put asterisks in it. They didn't bleep it out. He said what he said. So you can kiss my ass, Mary. Bernie, thank you for reminding me I was supposed to address that this week. I've said that I think swatting should be treated as attempted murder. Doxing should be treated as attempted murder. It is that simple. And that little bitch from New York Times, I believe it is, knew exactly what she was doing. She knew the ethics and the criminality in question, and she did it anyway. You notice I didn't drop a C-bomb. Didn't quite go that far. I can. Davy Alba is a cunt who belongs in prison on death row for her part in the murder of 1 million people. Scott is an asshole for backing down when he found out that Davy was not a man, but a woman. And I am not backing down. The little bitch from LA Times, who doxed that woman, did it with the intention of that woman being murdered. And I'm not taking that back under any circumstances. She didn't need to present that information. The public had no interest in it. She did it to get that woman murdered, and fuck you, you lying little bitch. Okay. I probably should wrap it up there because poor Apple is going for her third vodka or rum or beer. What Apple, when I do shit like this, reach out to me. I'll buy you the bottle. When I do shit like that, reach out to me. I'll buy you a bottle. Otherwise, no, you deserve it. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Keep calm and mandatory carry on.